it's Harris, and the tip of the day for people with depersonalization is to get out of your head, and one way to do this is to have goals that you write down on paper or on a computer. Although there is something to just writing your goals down on paper. And this is important for getting out of your head. There's a lot of things to do. Writing is really good in a lot of ways. Okay, you can write to correct distorted thoughts. But today I'm going to talk about having goals. What are goals? Goals are certain aims or objectives that organize our behavior and our focus in a certain direction. If you don't have goals, you'll tend to feel directionless. Okay? You'll tend to feel like you don't know where you're going. You probably don't know where you're going if you don't have goals, and you might just feel like you're floating around in space, not connected to something, and your mind isn't focused on something external. When you have goals, it helps you get an external focus. It helps you get out of your head. If you don't have goals, you're going to be more likely to go into your head and ruminate about your symptoms. Right? People always say, forget about it and it goes away. What they're saying is, don't engage in self-focus and rumination, but get out of your head. And one of the first steps in doing that is having written goals. There's two types of goals in my mind. There's the big goals that you have for things you want to accomplish 6 months to a year or longer from now. Things that require a lot of time and commitment and big objectives, right? There's dreams, okay? And so these goals have to be kind of founded in your values. You've got goals and you've got really good reasons why you want them. You don't have really good reasons for why you want something and a very clear image of what it is that you want to have, very clearly defined, you probably won't take the steps to get there. But those big goals are things you need to have. You need to believe you can get them, and you need to write them down. And you may not be clear on what those big long-term goals are, but you don't have to have them right now. You can start working on them. But just write down a list of like everything you would want. You know, a lot of people in kind of the self-help motivational community will talk about just taking a piece of paper and writing everything you possibly want down. With no limitations, no inner critic, just write everything that you could possibly want. Multiple pages. Spend even just 10 minutes and just go for it. Write just everything you could possibly imagine. Every dream you've ever wanted to accomplish. Everything. Write just a mind dump on the page. Okay. So you may actually already know what you want. So write it down and write some action steps about it. More importantly than just that is the mundane goals. The things you have to do tomorrow and this week. Write those down. It could be as simple as stuff as the laundry, clean your room, deal with your bills, right? A goal could be getting involved in some sort of like sports, like basketball team or some fitness class, or if you're in school and you have to do a paper, like how are you going to research that? Just the simplest shit. Write that down, and in particular the most actionable thing. Like say for tomorrow, what are you going to do tomorrow? What's the most actionable step? The thing that requires the most immediate attention and that you're going to actually take action on. Write that down. And it's better to have a shorter list of things you're actually going to do than a massive list where you're actually not going to do anything. Because one problem of list making is that list making can be compulsive, and I've fallen prey to this pitfall many times myself. You make all these lists and you never do anything. The list making almost becomes a surrogate or replacement for the actual action you're supposed to take. But for this week, you need to have written down what you're going to do for this week. Okay, and there's a lot of different systems out there for organizing all the things you have to do, right? And all the things that you want to do, part of you wants to do, but the instant gratification part of you doesn't want to do. But having them written down, having goals written down, the short-term goals and the long-term goals, organizes your behavior, it organizes your focus, and it also gets your unconscious mind kind of working. When you have a certain problem you're trying to solve, your brain is working to solve that problem. But until you've defined what that objective or aim is, your mind's not going to really start working on it. So you got to write them down. You got to write your goals down, get out of your head, and start doing those things. Start doing those things. Okay. That's the tip of the day. Get out of your head, write your goals down. I've got goals. I've got a ton of stuff written in this notebook, actually, personally. I've got goal like I'm gonna, engage in a move. And I've got every single step listed in order that I'm going to do it. Okay, and that's that's in a couple weeks. Okay. And then I have like goals for more articles and more videos that I'm going to do. I've got like a gigantic list made. Okay, so you really need to have this because you're going to get stuck in your head if you don't, and that's going to increase rumination, increase obsessiveness, and you'll just feel like you're floating and you're disconnected from the world. So have goals, write them down, get them out of your head. They will organize your focus in a certain direction and make you feel more like you have a sense of agency, especially when you start taking action and doing them. And I really think it's great to write kind of every day. Every day, get things out of your head and on paper. So get out of your head, have goals. That's the tip for today. Take care and stay tuned for more videos.